everybody, welcome in. Happy Tuesday to you, all of my beautiful friends. Hello, Debbie. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Mary. Anita's here. Bonnie's here. Nicole is here. Hello, hello. How's everybody doing? Hi, Kathy. How are you? Laurie, my dear. How is everybody? Did you guys have a good weekend? I had a pretty good weekend, I guess. Had a busy Monday. Had a pretty decent weekend. What did I do this? Oh, we had a bunch of people over for a barbecue this weekend. It was warm enough. It was warm enough to have a barbecue because I just cannot get out of my summer feelings. So trying to rush it just a little bit. It was a little sad though, because there's not any beautiful potted flowers on my porch to really contribute to the ambiance, but it was still nice to get the grill going and enjoy some of the warmer weather. And I hope that there are lots of warm days coming our way. I've looked at my extended forecast and it looks that way. It looks like there's some rain coming, but I think it's going to be nice for the foreseeable future, which is good. It's really good. I apologize in advance if you guys can hear. So I know you can normally hear my dogs snoring in particular, but my husky is hormonal, which means that my golden retriever is hormonal and he wants to be where she is really, really badly. She's in here with me. He's outside the door and he's just crying. So hopefully it's not too distracting, but it was better than having him in here and listening to him pant heavily for an hour. So he's out there. Just ignore him as best as you can. It's always a dog situation here at my house. Always. There's always a dog situation going on. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Gina. Sandra's here. Hi, Jen. How are you? Susie. Okay, listen, you guys. Guess what? Snack Shenanigans is happening Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. This Saturday. Coming up. This Saturday. Set your reminders. Don't worry if you can't see it live. You'll be able to watch it on replay on the YouTube channel as many times as you want to, which is where most people grab ridiculously crazy screenshots of me making terrible faces. But it is coming. It is coming. Snack Shenanigans is happening on Saturday, and you do not want to miss it. I have octopus. I have edible clay. I have like hot dog flavored candy. I have what are some of the other things? I have cheeseburger in a tube. Yeah. So do not miss it. Do not miss it. You're going to laugh. If you've not seen a Snack Shenanigans before, you are in for a treat. It's going to be funny. It's going to be fun. It's going to be gross. All of the things. I'm really looking forward to eating gross things. How weird is that? But we haven't done one in so long. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun. Oh, you're going to miss because of the Kentucky Derby opening. Oh, but listen, you're going to have an amazing time and you can come back and watch it on the replay. So no worries. You get to see both. You get to have both things, which is cool. So hi, Kathleen. How are you? Hi, Mary. Steph is here. I saw Katie pop in just a second ago. Is Q going to be joining me? I don't know. We have a lot of yard things going on. We're having a guy come and make a flat spot in our yard for our fire pit, and so I'm not sure if he'll be able to take a break and come in and be a part of it. But I'm going to try to convince him to take a break because it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So, all right, other things. Let's see. Kathleen's having some problems. Hers says on my screen, it says this can't be played in the background. What should I do? I think that means that you've got something else open. You need to close your extra tabs. I'm pretty sure that that's what that means. Like if you were watching something else or you were doing something and you can't have video allocated to both things at the same time, I think that's what it is. So Gina says, so many yummy goodies to try. Right? It's going to be disgusting. I can't wait. Oh, goodness. Okay, so Hardwired is open for enrollment right now. So if you would like to be a Hardwired member, come on over and join us. We would love to have you. Hardwired is we're kind of pivoting in Hardwired just slightly, just slightly. So let me explain. Hardwired is my advanced learning community where you have to pay to be a member. It's not expensive. It gives you extra lives and all of those fun things. We meet twice a week and it's a whole lot of fun. We focus, however, very, very deeply on wire because we're called Hardwired. We've been working on wire weaving in particular and lots of advanced wire techniques. However, I teach those in a way that is easily accessible to anybody as long as you have your basics down. Your basic loops, like your simple loops and your wrapped loops, and a little bit of like coiling. If you can do coiling, you're good to go. And that's what we have focused very heavily on for the past 4 years. It is Hardwired's birthday. Can you believe it? 4 years I've been doing Hardwired. 4 years in, and we're pivoting just slightly. We are still doing advanced, so upper level advanced to intermediate type projects that I make accessible to all skill levels. So don't be intimidated if you want to come join. We're still focusing on our techniques, but we're also today we're doing a bead weaving project. We're using some seed beads and a needle and some beading thread. We did a looming project last week, so we're trying to broaden our horizons just a little bit so that we don't get stale, because it has been 4 years, 4 years of intensive wire projects. You're still going to get Hardwired wire projects, but you're also going to get a little bit of other things as well. And I'm kind of excited about that because our 4-year anniversary is a wonderful time to kind of make that little slight pivot. So if you're interested in being, please come on over. We would absolutely love to have you. It is a smaller group, and that means more one-on-one. We do a lot of laughing, a lot of gossiping, a lot of chit chat, a lot of joking, but we also work very hard, and we are ready to bring you in if you would like to come and hang with us. So we'd love to have you. Love to have you. Patreon, however, is open for enrollment anytime you want. It's just a click away, couple of clicks, and you can be a member of Patreon for $10 a month. You will get an extra 3 projects from me a month. So in addition to the lives that already happen here, you will get 3 additional projects that are exclusive to Patreon members only, meaning you're not going to see those anywhere else. You won't see them on Facebook. You won't see them on YouTube. They are just for the Patreon subscribers. And those projects are not advanced projects. Those are just fun projects using things we already have in our stash. I am not trying to send you out to buy anything. I'm not offering you a kit or anything like that. We are quite simply using things that we already have, because if you're like me, you got a lot of beads, and we're using those to create things that we love. So it's really just more about inspiration. The projects are easy, but they're beautiful and they're fun. And I would love for you to come and join that as well. So if you would like to come and be a Patreon member, come on over and do that. Now, listen, the Patreon has 2 options. You can be a free member or you can be a paid member. Only paid members have access to the project videos. Free members, you can see the teaser pics, but you got to be a paid member to see the actual project video. So just so you know. Laurie says the new Patreon project is beautiful. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. I think it's really pretty too. I'm excited about the video. It's releasing here as soon as we're done here. So, okay, so here we go. It is a question and answer Tuesday. We've not done one of these in a very, very long time, and I'm actually looking forward to this. So we don't have a project planned. That doesn't mean you're not going to see stuff, because I have a whole room full of stuff, and I'm just sitting here waiting for you to ask me a question where I can show you some stuff or answer your questions. I have questions that were pre-gathered by the team. So I have some on my phone. I'm going to start with those. And then once we get through those, if you have a question, today's the day to ask. Now, if your question does not get asked today, don't worry. We'll do another one of these in the near-ish future, not right away, because, you know, I don't want to do overkill here, but I would love to have your questions. So, all right, I'm going to pull up the ones that are on my phone, and we're going to start with those first. And if I can show you anything to go with it, I absolutely will. And I know that I do have some things. So, okay. So first question that I have on my phone here is from Terry. She said, I have some questions for both stringing wire and stretch cord. I am a literal black and white person and tend to overthink and spend a lot of time contemplating which to get. That, I think a lot of people are like that. Okay, so question number one, she's got 3 questions. Question number 1, with multiple brands, how do I determine which stringing wire and which stretch cord is best for my project? Which factors should I take into consideration? Are they basically the same and I just need to try them? What are the pros and cons? Okay, so that's a really, really good question. And obviously there's a big difference between your stringing wire and your stretch cord, because stringing wire does not have any stretch to it whatsoever. It is 100% stable, not going to stretch. The differences in bead stringing wire, now guys, don't tell Beadalon I said this. The differences between the bead stringing wires brand wise are minimal. There are some differences, and you're gonna be able to tell like what is like better quality than others, but the overall they're very similar. Stretch cord, totally different. There are a ton of different brands of stretch cord, and they're all made a little bit different. So we're going to talk about those here in just a second. But let's talk about the bead stringing wire first. Now, for me personally, I'm a Beadalon person. I 100% use Beadalon bead stringing wire. I recently have been using the Art Beads bead stringing wire, but I don't use it on a regular basis. The Beadalon bead stringing wire is my favorite, and there's a couple of reasons why. Number one, the quality is really nice. So if you look at the price points, sorry, there's going to be, hey, we have company. That is enough. Shh. No. So the price point is not necessarily going to be an indicator, because the price point is actually going to be grouped into 3 groups. 7 strand is going to be the most affordable, 19 strand is a little bit more expensive, and 49 strand is the most expensive. That's because of the way that the wire is manufactured. However, within those groups, there are going to be some slight price differences. So the Beadalon is going to be maybe at a higher price point, and then some of the lower quality ones are going to be at a lower price point, but you have to look at them individually in those 3 groups in order to determine what's better, because you don't want to compare a 7 strand wire to a 49 strand wire. You just don't want to do that, because number one, the price point is way different, and number two, the product itself is not the same. It's not about quality. It's just about what the product actually is. She's got a great question about that coming up. So, and I think there was another question about it. So I'm going to go ahead and just take care of the answers to those questions. 7 strand bead stringing wire. Okay, first of all, let's break it down. 7 strand bead stringing wire, 7 strands of very fine, almost microscopic stainless steel wire. 7 of those twisted together and then coated in nylon. That's what makes it a single strand that you then use. So 19 strand is 19 of those strands. 49 is 49 of those strands. The more strands, the softer, more supple the wire is. So the 49 strand has the most fluid drape to it. It's very luxurious feeling. It's very fluid feeling. It has the ability to be knotted, and it will hold its knot. It is just very soft and supple. 19 strand, middle of the road. 7 strand is very stiff, strong, sturdy. Now, that doesn't mean it's better or worse. It's just project specific. So if you have 7 strand bead stringing wire, a lot of beginners make this mistake. They'll go out into the world and they will buy 7 strand thinking, I don't want to spend a lot of money. This is 7 strand. This is good enough. I'm going to start here. This is a great beginner wire. It's going to take care of all my needs. That's not necessarily true. 7 strand is not a cheaper wire because it is lower quality. It is a cheaper wire because it is less stainless steel strands. It is stronger as far as structure is concerned because it's only 7. So it's going to be good for creating things that need structure. 7-strand is not an all-purpose kind of wire. If you're going to create things out of bead stringing wire that need to hold up, so let's say you're going to create earrings and you want that drape shape, or you want a circle shape, or you're going to make a pendant out of it, 7-strand is the way to go because of the structure. Cheaper price point, yes, but not great for long draping necklaces. Long draping necklaces, you want that 49-strand because it's really supple. So the 19-strand kind of falls in the middle. It's a good multi-purpose, still a little stiff, but has a nice drape to it. That's usually where I recommend a beginner to go. But the price is not indicative there. As far as the quality is concerned, like I said, Beadalon is my favorite. And part of the reason is because the quality is really nice, but they also have all of the information that you need on the packaging. And I think people don't realize that this is there. So you can see this little number 1 and this number 2. That number 1 and that number 2 tells you what size crimp boobs, really, crimp tubes or crimp beads. Mix those 2 words together. I'm not being brain, mouth needs to behave. Crimp tubes or crimp beads. It tells you what size you need to get to go with the diameter wire that you have chosen. Not all brands do that. Not all brands do that. And I think that that one step above makes my life a lot easier when I go to buy wire, because then I know what size findings I need to get and I don't have to guess. I don't have to buy a bunch and then end up with the wrong size. So the fact that they put that on the packaging is really important to me because it makes my life so much easier and it makes things so much quicker. But the quality is really good. There are other great bead stringing wires out there, but they all feel a little different. They'll have a little bit thicker or thinner coating on them. So try and see which ones you like the best. But I really feel like Beadalon is a great place to start. And if you're not used to using it, 19-strand is where you probably want to start if you're making necklaces and bracelets, and then kind of work your way once you get familiar with it to the 49-strand. Or if you want to make things with more structure, go down to the 7. So I hope that that answered that question. Now, the second part of that question was about stretch cord. Stretch cord comes in a couple of different, well, more than a couple of different brands, but not all stretch cord is made the same. So let me show you. Stretch cord can either be a monofilament, or not, I'm sorry, not a monofilament, a single strand. This is elasticity. This is the silver elasticity. It's a single, and I'm going to show you. You can see it's just a single strand. Let's turn the camera around so I can show this to you up close. Okay, so, whoops, sorry. Oh my goodness. All right. It's just one single strand, right? One single strand. Comes in a lot of different colors. You can get it in clear, you can get it in silver, you can get it in black, you can get it in gold. And there are a couple of different brands. The clear is probably the most familiar to everyone. But then there is Opalon and there is Elonga. The difference is multi-strand elastic cord, and you can even see it. This is multi-fibers of stretch. I don't know if you can tell, but you can almost see the different fibers there. So this is, number 1, going to fray. See how it's fraying at the end? It will fray. And it honestly does not last as long. However, it has the craziest amount of stretch to it. That's why it is made. That's why it's made from multi fibers, is so that it can give you that insane springy boingy stretch that you cannot get from the elasticity. Elasticity does stretch. It is a great stretch cord, but it does not stretch as much as the multi fibers do. But there are pros and cons to both. The pros to the Elonga and the Opalon. The Elonga is my favorite because it comes in colors. I love that. The fact that I can get this in all kinds of colors makes my life so much easier, because when I stretch a bracelet open and you can see the fibers, I can make it match my beads. That I love. The Opalon, it's pretty good. I only know that it comes in this like white color. It's okay. It's similar to the Elonga. Doesn't come in a lot of colors. The problem I have with the Elonga is that out of the two, this one tends to fray the most. So once you make your stretch bracelet and you wear it for a few days, you may notice these little fibers start sticking out between your beads where it started to fray. I feel like the Elonga lasts a little bit longer, but neither one of them are as strong as the elasticity. This stuff does not fray. It just doesn't. And like I said, it comes in a lot of different colors too. Not all those beautiful colors, but you can get this one in silver, clear, black, gold, a lot of colors, and it comes in a couple of different diameters. So it's nice and strong. So there really is a big difference there. You can see this is the gold. It's very, very thin. It's a little shimmery, but there is a big difference. However, you knot it pretty much the same. You know, you knot it the same, you treat it the same way. You can put glue with both of them, but this won't fray and the others will. This one is not as springy and stretchable. The other one is. So, all right, let's see. The other question that she had here is, I understand the numbers in regards to flexibility. How do the numbers come into play? I already answered that question, so hopefully I took care of that one. Let's see. The other question was about ring making. Here's another one that says, this one is from someone else that says, how do you calculate the lengths for a multi-strand necklace so it lays correctly? Is there an easy way or formula? Yes. So oddly enough, there is an easy way to determine the lengths of your necklace. Let me get hold on. Cooper, get up. Get out of the way, buddy. Thank you. I'm going to get something for you. I'm going to show you. I know most people don't like to use these, but I have to use this as mine is covered in cat hair. I apologize. Most people don't like to use these unless you love it, right? You're either I love it or I hate it. I actually, excuse me, I don't use this at all, but I'm going to use this as to show you what I mean here. Some people, like I said, some people love them, some people hate them. I don't love it. I don't use it. My daughter loves it. I got this off of her desk. She uses it all of the time. This is not the only way to determine your necklace lengths or your multi-strand lengths, but this is a great example of the math that I'm about to show you. And yeah, you got a math, but it's super easy math. It's already done on here. So let me show you let me explain what I mean. So your top strand obviously is going to go in this groove right here, right? That's going to be your base length. It's normally your shortest length. The next groove is already measured out for you. It is 1/2 inch longer than your first strand. That is a really good rule of thumb. Albert, please. He's whining. It's driving me crazy now. So you have one strand, the next strand up, add 1/2 inch to it to make this drape. Most people will just jump right into this groove. Me personally, I find that 1/2 inch difference is not enough. I don't like it. The two sit too close together. So I jump down to the bottom one. This one is 1 inch longer. So when you are creating multi-strand designs, the best rule of thumb is to work in 1/2 inch increments. So if you were using your bracelet board to create what would be a visually what you think about when you look at a multi-strand design or a 2-strand and you're like, they're perfectly spaced, it's because there's 1 inch between them. The 1.5 inch, they're going to be sitting very, very, very close. And the bigger your beads are, the closer that space is. So keep all of that in mind. But good rule of thumb, 1/2 inch between each layer, or if you're like me and you like a little extra space, make it 1 whole inch. So that makes your designing much easier. When you know that, you don't need this, right? You just know, okay, the next strand needs to be either 1/2 inch longer or 1 inch longer. So Hope that helped. That's a really good question. And I think people get really caught up in that. But yes, there is a formula there. It is 1/2 inch to inch increments. It's going to be nice and perfectly spaced. All right, going on to the next question. Let's see. Gwen had a question. She said, I received rubber tubing in a Beadalon box that I bought. I have no idea what to do with it. My question is, what would you make with rubber tubing? Rubber tubing is hollow. And I don't know if I have any right here. I don't think that I do. In fact, I'm pretty sure that I don't. Rubber tubing is hollow, and you can fill it up with other things. That's what you're really supposed to do. So you can put it on memory wire. You can put it on bead string wire. You can put it on your artistic wire or your German style wire to create structure. And then you can just use it like you would anything else. I personally like to put it on the memory wire just because it gives it really nice structure. You can cut it in little sections and make little rubber tube beads out of it if you want to, or you can do long sections of it, but you really need to fill it up with something to give it the structure. And then you can put a bead cap on the end if you want to, or you can just wire wrap. It's up to you. I wish I had some so I could show you. Cindy says, how do I determine the right clasp to use when making a necklace or bracelet? Honestly, it's really just kind of up to you. I always go for a lobster clasp. That's my go-to. That's what I have the most. I always have like these bags full of lobster clasps. I usually go for the medium because it's a nice size to work with, because I don't like to fuss with the others. The spring ring clasps are on a lot of vintage style jewelry, and that's what I think a lot of us grew up with on our jewelry that was store bought. The only thing I don't like about it is that over time the spring will get sprung. You know what I mean? It will snap inside there, and then the clasp doesn't work anymore. I find that the lobster clasps are the easiest to open and close and last the longest. However, I personally like a pretty clasp. Toggle clasps are great. However, I think a lot of people get really messed up using a toggle. Let's see if I can grab some toggles here. So a lot of people get really messed up in their jewelry making when they use a toggle, because the toggle, number one, you can't use an extension chain with it, so you're only going to get one size, right? Number two, depending on the size of the toggle, it's really going to adjust the size of your bracelet. So obviously, or your necklace, the bigger the piece, the longer your bracelet's going to be. So if you've already taken and done the math and you're like, oh, well, it's going to be a 7.5 inch bracelet, and you go to put a toggle on it that's this size, all of a sudden your bracelet's 9 inches long. That's not good. And like I said, you can't use an extension chain, so you can't really adjust that size. Once it's done, it's on there, and all you can do is just remake it. They're beautiful, but that is really a drawback. So with the medium-sized lobster clasp, I know that this lobster clasp plus 2 6mm jump rings is going to give me 1 extra inch of length. So I don't have to think about it. That's part of the reason why I just grab for these, because I know that whatever design I've made, all I have to add to it is an inch. So if I made a 7-strand and I add my hardware, it's going to make it an 8 strand. Why am I calling it a strand? 8-inch length. So I don't know. I don't know that there's really a real answer to that. If you're just like me and you like to keep things simple, the lobster is really traditional, great, tried and true. Toggles, you got to do a little extra math. Okay, let's see. Favorite line of tools? Beadalon. However, okay, let me be 100% honest with you. So my Beadalon, I'm picky. I'm very, very picky. My Beadalon tools, I like the smaller version. I don't like the long handled version of any tool. I like the small ones, and I like the small tip on the round nose pliers of this set. This is the set that I use 99% of the time. Latex free handles. You can get them in purple. You can get them in green. I just have the standard black. They're not fancy, but they get the job done. However, I do love, and I cannot pretend like I don't, I love my Xuron. I have my chain nose pliers, look at the tininess. I can get in the tiniest little places. I can open the tiniest jump rings with this guy. The chain nose and the bent chain nose, I adore. Absolutely adore these. Cannot stand the round nose version. I have it. I don't like it. I don't want to use it ever. But what I do use in combination with these is the Lindstrom white-handled round nose. Look how tiny this little round nose is at the very tip. Look at that right there. See how tiny that is? I can make the tiniest loops with this. So if I had to create my perfect set of pliers, it would be this. This is the perfect set for me. This is my tried and true I use for everything. But I think you're going to be happy with either one. And if you're like me and you want to have the tiniest little wrapped loops ever, this guy right here is crazy expensive, but it's worth it just because, number one, the handle is really nice and luxurious, but that the tip on that is teeny beany. So yeah, this is the like the Mercedes-Benz combo of tools. This is like your standard Nissan, right? This is going to get you. This is your Subaru. Maybe, I mean, it's not the craziest price, but man, it's going to be there for you in a pinch. This is your Subaru. This is your Mercedes, right? I don't know. Maybe Subaru is still a little expensive. Beadalon is not crazy expensive on their tools. But I think about, like, you know, the Subaru commercials where the Subaru is like there for you in a pinch. That's definitely this. So. Okay, now when it comes to crimper tools and cutters, I have a differing opinion of a lot of people. So first of all, you guys know my blue handle cutter is my go-to. This is my flush cutter. I use it for everything, even when I don't care if the cut is flush or not. I use this for literally everything, so much so that I damage the blades because I don't follow the rules and take care of it like I should. However, if you do take care of it, this is worth every penny. I use it for literally everything. However, I really do like all of the Beadalon cutter tools. They're very, very handy for just about anything. The crimper, though, I think a lot of people don't agree with me on this one, but I have my reasons. So when it comes to crimper tools, the standard crimper tool is my favorite, and I don't even care what brand it is. Mine is Beadalon because everything I have is Beadalon, but I don't care if it is just some unlabeled brand, as long as it is the standard. And the reason is because if it is not broken, guys, don't fix it. Don't fix it. There are so many crimpers out there that want to make these aesthetically pleasing crimps. They're little pillow pouches. They're these perfect little round beads. They're this, they're that. They're these little things. No, they're not actually doing what the crimper is supposed to do, which is protect your bead stringing wire. That's why we don't just take pliers and smash our crimps flat, because it's destroying the bead stringing wire. If you are using anything other than a crimper tool that has that tooth that separates the wires inside your crimp bead or your crimp tube, you're doing it wrong. I don't care if it's the prettiest crimp you've ever seen. It looks like a bead. It falls right into your design and it's magical. I don't really care, because you're doing it wrong. You are damaging your bead stringing wire. The only way to keep from damaging your bead stringing wire is to use this standard where the tooth comes down. So if it's got green handles and a different brand on it, I'm okay with that. If it's blue and it doesn't have a label on it, I'm okay with that too. I don't care, as long as it's got the tooth and the process is the same. But if you think that your other crimper tools are doing you a service by creating a perfect little bead, yeah, aesthetically, that's great. But your bead stringing wire is suffering for it and your design is going to break one day. Mark my words. I'm not a snob about it. I'm just telling you the facts. Okay. So Ginger had a question. Ginger says, taking photos is my biggest challenge. Any hints or suggestions for software? Okay. First of all, I love this question. Second of all, I'm going to actually show you guys something. So what I want to do is I want to know, I don't know if I can add, can I invite myself? I don't think that I can. Let me see if I can add myself first. http://StreamYard. If this doesn't work, I'm going to move the iPad. So everybody get your sea legs on, because you might get a little seasick. 345. Hopefully this will work. 345 W. Okay. I'll have to turn the volume completely down. Okay. Let's see if I can add. Oh. Okay. So added. Oh, golly. Hold, please. Okay. Nope. Shoot. There. Are we better? Okay. So I have my phone. Is everybody good? Okay. So I have my phone. I can still kind of hear this though. There. Nope. I can still hear it. Dang it. Turned it off. Hold on. So I'm going to show you guys very quickly. I'm going to show you where I take my pictures. So let me turn this around. Whoops. Hi. Okay. All right. So I'm going to move away. I know there's still a little bit of feedback here. Hang on just a second though, and just deal with it for just a second if you don't mind. I'm going to show you where I take my pictures. Okay. So hopefully you'll still be able to hear me. All right. So guys, this is literally it. This is it. So I quite literally have a desk that sits next to my desk, right? There's my desk. This desk has a window. And what I do is I will open my blinds upwards at an angle. Okay, so the light is angled away. And then I come down here and I have some paper. I have lots of paper that has like background stuff on it, but my tried and true is just white, right? So I put the white paper down. That's not white. This one's white. I put the white paper down, and then I use something else, like this plant that you guys have seen the side of a million times in my pictures. Okay, so that you're looking at in that screen is exactly what I would use to take my picture. I'm not using any studio lights. I'm not using a light box. I'm literally using the light that I have from the window, which is diffused because of the blinds. It's not just straight on sunlight. It is light that is coming from that window only. And I am using nothing more than my iPhone to take those pictures. So after I take those pictures, that's the thing. Hold on, I gotta turn this off. It's driving me crazy. How do I kick myself out? Now it's time to get rid of me. There we go. Bye. Okay, so I'm still hearing it. Am I still hearing it? I am still hearing it. This is crazy. Give me just a second. How do I get rid of myself? Hold on. Sorry, guys. I did not mean to make this even more complicated.
Okay, I give up. I'm just going to sit on my phone and we're going to pretend like that's not happening. Okay, I'm going to turn you back around so that you can see my face. Okay, so I use, the reason I want you to see my face because I want to show you how I do this on my phone. Okay, so I use my iPhone, just my iPhone, the camera that is already preloaded in the iPhone. And then I will go into my settings. Okay, so let's pretend that we've taken a picture. Okay. So there's my picture, right? This is just in the regular photo part of my phone. And down here on the bottom, if you'll click on that, now you can edit. I slide over to the brightness and I will adjust the brightness that way. And then I also click on the one that shadows and I adjust the shadows that way. That is all I do. There are a million softwares out there. There are a million apps. There are, you can do Photoshop and all of that. I don't have time for all of that. The phone camera is so much more advanced than it used to be. There's no reason to, number one, have an extra camera, or number two, pay for software that you don't necessarily need. I think that with just your phone, you can still create really beautiful pictures. I find that on a cloudy day, it's even better. After a certain amount of time, though, say after 5 p.m., depending on where the sunlight is at my house, I can't really take photos after that. So it'll have to wait till the next day. Morning photos are best. But guys, a piece of white paper and then just something else to add a little visual interest to it helps your camera focus a little bit better. That's literally it. And I have had 2 very expensive light boxes. One of them I still have. It's in the closet. But it's not worth it. It's not worth it. You can even use other pieces of paper like in front of you. So if you are using something that reflects back at you, you can use a white piece of paper to kind of diffuse that light if you hold it up where your camera is. I promise you, it just takes practice, but you don't need any extra anything to create some great pictures. I promise. Okay, so still would like to know how to kick myself out of here. I don't know how to get rid of myself, and I can still hear it. Oh well. Put the phone away. Okay, so I'm going to look at another question. Lots of good questions here. I like this question too. How do you start a project? This was Lisa. Do you start by picking a focal, or do you start with your beads? So let's see, hold on. Make sure I got all that. She says, how do you start a project? By focal or by picking some beads? And how long do you take to create it, or how long do you give it before you scrap it? That's a really good question, because scrapping a project does happen. It happens all the time, actually. So I think a lot of times I will start with the focal, but if I'm really, really inspired by the beads, or I don't have a focal necessarily, then it's definitely about the beads. But a lot of times I spend a lot of time scrolling through Pinterest and looking at, I'll show you what I look at on Pinterest. I have a whole Pinterest board that is dedicated to color palettes, because I struggle with color, but then it is also just inspiration in general. Just pictures of things that I find inspiring. And a lot of times that's what I'll use to pick out what I'm going to make. So I'm trying to find some pictures for you here, like this one, for instance. And these are just random pictures. This one, you can see, is like, it's just like a wooden gate with some flowers. There's the green. There's all the pops of the colors of the flowers. I use pictures like that I scroll on Pinterest as my inspiration for things. This one is a little darker, a little moodier. The colors are a little bit more muted. There's muted oranges, muted greens. Even the whites are more like cream colors. And there are yellows, but they're very soft, diffused yellows. Those kinds of color palettes are what I use when I am picking out beads. Not always, but a lot of times. And if I need like a focal color, this is like a bright purple door, but all of the colors around that all work together. I know that that's visually, for me, it's beautiful. So I know that that's going to translate well into a piece of jewelry. So then I will, you know, I'll find my big purple beads that match that or look close to that. And then start to look at what the other colors are that are around that. If I don't have a focal, you know what I mean? But if I have a focal, the focal kind of leads the way. However, if I sit here on my bead mat with a project and I sit here for more than about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and it's still not coming together, I scrap it. I scrap it because I don't have enough time to, just me personally, I don't have enough time to sit here and let a project rot on my mat. But if it's one that I feel really strongly that I can do something with it, I will just scoop it all up and put it to the side, or I'll bring in a different bead mat or whatever, and I'll come back to it later. But if it, after 30 minutes, 45 minutes at the most, if it's not bringing an actual design into focus, it's got to go, because I can't force it. When I force it is when I'm very unhappy with the way that things look. So I hope that that helped. Let's see. Put the phone in with my talking or snoring robot. I did actually. Oh my goodness. Use a color cube for inspiration. I love that. I love that. Okay, so now I'm going to look back here at some of the questions that you guys have. Can you make your own eye pins using German style wire? Yes. Yes, you can. You can make your own eye pins and your own knotted head pins. I love both. I can show you both real quick. Let's do that. Real quick. So I do use the German style wire for literally everything. But if German style wire is not your thing, that's okay. I'm going to use some 18 gauge. No, I'm not. I'm going to use some 22 because that's what I use for everything. Why would I deviate from that? So use some of my 22 gauge here. Oh my goodness, Zena's snoring like crazy. Albert finally stopped whining. Okay, so let's do both. First things first, we're going to start with straightening our wire. So you can use your nylon jaw pliers for that, or you can use your wire straightener. Just try to make it as straight as I can. Okay, so for eye pins, there's two methods for eye pins, for eye pins. So you're going to take the tip of the wire and you're going to use your round nose pliers or whatever it is that you want to use. And you are going to grab the wire and then you're just going to turn a loop. Okay. Now I know that's not what you're looking for because that's not centered. So what you do is you put it back onto the tool, and then before you take it off, you give the wire a slight bend. It's called breaking the neck. It's disturbing, but that's what it's called. And what that does is that just centers up your loop in your wire. So all you do is just make a very slight bend in your wire. So that's one method. Another method is to bend the wire. Okay. So you come in with your chain nose pliers and you measure out, or you eyeball it, give it about 1/4 of an inch of wire, right? And then you make the bend, and then you come in with your round nose pliers and you roll back to create your loop. And then that also gives you an eye pin. I kind of like the other method better just because I have a little bit more control and my loops are a little bit more consistent, but either way works, right? Super easy. Then to do a head pin, knotted head pin coming your way, you take the tail end of your wire and the very tip of your pliers, tip of both. Roll the wire around the tip of your pliers all the way around once, and then all the way around a second time, and then stop. Before you take the wire off of the tool, bend the wire away from your hand, away from the pliers handles, going underneath those two coils. Take it off. You can see you've made these little loops. Take the tail end of your wire, bring it back around and stick it through. So now you've created this little lasso, right? Then you're going to come in with your nylon jaw pliers and you're going to grab the wire right next to the little coils that you just made. And then you're going to grab your wire with another pair of pliers and you're going to pull it. And you're pulling it through. You're creating a little knot, a little rosette, and your wire is centered up. And then you can thread on your bead. You've got yourself a head pin. The smaller, the thinner the gauge wire, the smaller the knot is going to be. So if that's a little chunky for you, you can always do it with a 24 gauge wire instead to make it a little bit smaller. But yes, you can do both. You can do both. Debbie says, can you demonstrate the first eye pin again? Yes, I can. So I'm going to trim off my knot here. So I'm just going to come in with my round nose pliers and I'm going to place the wire at whatever size, right? The further back, the larger your loop is going to be. So I'm just going to make that P shape, right, with my wire. But before I take it off of the tool, I'm going to turn it this way so you can see it. I'm just going to bend the wire just slightly to line that up. So it's just the slightest little bend in the wire. So let's do it again. So we're going to create our P shape. Okay. And then I've placed it so that the wire is running straight through the middle of my pliers. And then I'm just giving it a little bit of a bend. And I'm using the bottom barrel of the pliers as my stopper, right? All right. Lisa says, I'm the one on the organizing guide tips or tricks for yes. So I don't really have a ton of organization guides because I use the totes, but let me see if I can. First of all, you can see everything is a mess. I can't really show you this way. So don't judge. First of all, I use pegboard that I got from the hardware store. I'm going to actually unplug here too. I have a little bit more mobility. So I use, if I can get my finger out of the way, you can see it. I use pegboard that I got, and you buy it by the little, I don't know how to explain it. You buy it in like little rectangle shapes. And then I bought a whole bag of those hooks. And the hooks come in a lot of different sizes, but that's what I use to hang up any of the beads that I have that need to be hung up, right? I also hang my wire from there if it's still in the packaging, things like that. I have a whiteboard to keep me organized that sits directly in front of me so I can write on it. But my favorite is this guy. This guy always sits to the right of me. And I also got this from the hardware store. It's just one of those little, trying to hold the iPad and not lose you guys. But I use my label maker to make the labels and then put those on there. And then that's what is in each one of the drawers. So you can see it, tiara cast, copper cord ends, miscellaneous vintage, chatons, skulls, micro-faceted beads, and anything that I need on a regular basis, I put in those, right? And I have those, they're double layered because I have a lot. And then not all of my crystals, but the majority of my crystals, I keep those in these little containers right here where I can get to them so that I can, number one, they're easily accessible, but I'm inspired by them. So a lot of times if I have block, because shiny, sparkly things inspire me the most, I'll grab these and just kind of look at them and see what's inside. And then, oh, I think that looks great. I'm going to, I'll be inspired. The rest of my desk is an absolute disaster. Don't judge. But I use this little guy too. I got this at the dollar store. And I know that it doesn't look like it makes a lot of sense, but to me, it does. I know what's in each one of these. So this one has like pendants in it. This one has metal findings, or not findings, but like focals, has metal focals in it. This one has mostly crystal focals in it. I have thrown some things in the top, but for the most part, this one is all crystals. And I keep that near me. And then I have a ton of containers. These guys right here, I get from the Dollar Tree as well. You can get a stack of like 20 of them for $1. I love these. I use them all the time for everything. That's how I put my kits together. And then I have this guy that's an absolute mess too. I have a lot of stuff, obviously. And so, it's always a struggle for me to, number one, to keep it clean. You can see it's an absolute disaster. But the things that I surround myself with, the things that inspire me. And I don't know how you guys are about it. My daughter comes in here and she's like, Mom, you're such a kid. You have like nothing but like toys all around. And I do. I have toys. I have little miniatures of things. You can see I have my Funko Pops, all of my just my weird stuff, because it inspires me and it makes me happy. So I think more than organizing, having things that make me happy, like a pin that his mouth open and closes like a dinosaur, these things just make me happy. And that is really there's my little Stitch hanging here. It's a mess, right? As it should be. So organizing, I try. I don't know that I'm great with it, but I do the best that I can. But now, really, what you really want to see is that. That is the majority of the organization right there. So don't mind the vacuum cleaner. And the shelf with all that shelf right there, that's my daughter's shelf. I gave her a shelf in here. But all of these are marked as well. So you can see silver head pins, eye pins. Those are not marked. Silver jump rings, orange beads, green beads, red beads, pink beads, copper jump rings, antique brass bead caps, metal beads, and spacers. So I use my label maker for literally everything. And then what doesn't go into the bins, if it's, I just hang it. So you can see all of those are just hanging. And then I have my seed beads and stuff on the top. And you can see, so lots and lots of labeling on everything. And containers. So there's a cigar box. This is used to have chocolates in it. Containers are my saving grace for literally everything. There's my calendar. I keep all the things on. So there you go. There you go. All right, I'm going to turn you back around here. Hold on. Whoops. How do I? There we go. It's me again. It's me again. Oh my gosh. How strong are your shelves? My shelves came from the Home Depot. They're those strong. They're supposed to go in your your garage. They will hold a ton, obviously, and they don't bow. But now the black over there in the corner, that's a bookshelf. I have terrible luck with the bookshelves. The bookshelves will bow in the middle. Yeah, totally. Did you see a toy bat at the end of your Yes, I have lots of like bat things. I have lots of weird, because I love horror movies and Halloween, so I have a lot of, I have a lot of weird things. Um, Carrie says she just needs more space. Listen, this, I know that it might look big. This is really just the tiniest little space ever. And I have a closet that also has these metal shelves in it that's full as well. So I have a very, very small space, and there are 3 desks in here, and sometimes there are 3 people in here. I have gone from my kitchen, just working in the kitchen in like my old house. I took over some of the kitchen cabinets. Then I moved into a bigger house and I had a whole big, huge room. Then I moved here and I have a much, much smaller space. So I think it really just kind of comes down to how you use it. As you can tell, I've gone up with things. I'm using the walls and I'm going upwards with things instead of out this way. So any others? We're right at an hour, so we may need to stop, but we can always do this again, because I know there are always questions, and so many questions that don't get answered, and there are a lot of like actual jewelry making questions that I would love to get into. So I really would love to. How do I sort my seed beads? I really don't. I used to sort them by size. I had a packet, or I had a container that had 15s and a container that had 11s, and I would sort them out by size. Now I don't. I actually sort them by brand instead. So I have the bucket that's up there that well, it's not a bucket, it's a tote, but the tote right there with the white lid that says seed beads on it, that actually has nothing but Tohos and Mayukis in it, all different shapes and sizes and colors. But I know that they're Mayukis and Tohos, so when I want the quality, that's what I'll go and grab. But then the tote that's above it has like house brand from Hobby Lobby, or house brand from Michael's, or John Bead. Not that John Bead's bad, but like they're not the same as they're not the same. They're just not. Just being honest, they're not the same. So it has more like check glass seed beads in it that are not as good quality as my Japanese seed beads. So that's how I separate mine. But previous to that, I used to separate them out by size and then by color. Now I don't, but I don't use seed beads enough to, so. Kathleen says, I don't have that much stuff. I know. Most people don't have this much stuff, but you have to remember, this is my full-time job, and I have to make kits and I have to do so many things. So yeah, most people do not have this amount of stuff. Please don't think that you need this amount of stuff. You do not. You do not. Oh my gosh. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining. This has been fun. I hope that you have enjoyed it. I promise we'll do this again soon, and we will make a list of like really intensive jewelry making questions, because that's where we can really get in and like I can really talk you through some things that are difficult. So yeah. Tara says, I long to be like you. No, you don't. Trust me. It's gone well above and beyond normal. Okay, it's no longer normal. It is almost obsessive. But am I ever worried about beads falling on the floor? Oh, please, they fall on the floor all the time, But all right, friends, I love you so much. Thanks for hanging with me. Like I said, we'll do this again very soon. And don't forget, Friday, Feel Good Friday is at 1 p.m. Friday afternoon with all of the fun kits for the week. Don't forget about that. So set your reminders. And then Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern time, set your reminders. Snack Shenanigans is happening. That is this, did I say Tuesday? This Saturday. I think that's what I said. I don't know. I'm thinking I got so many things going on in my brain at the moment. So set your reminders. Saturday, 2 p.m. Don't forget, Friday, 1 p.m. There will be reminders posted everywhere so you won't forget.
All right. I love you so much, and I will see you guys soon. Mwah. Bye, guys.